977-1070 is the phone number here on the Schilling Show. And first of all, I must issue an apology to Steve Koleszar, who's sitting across from me right now. He's here. It was like ships that crossed in the night. He's been here for a while. I did not receive his email confirming his appearance, but I do appreciate that he came into the studio today to have this conversation. Also online with us right now is J. Christian Adams. He was a recent guest on this program. His book is Injustice, Exposing the Racial Agenda of the Obama Justice Department. And he broke this big story on Occupy Woodbrook. It was up on Big Government at Breitbart, and Leon's got a link to that online right now. So let me first welcome to the program Steve Koleszar. Thanks so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, and it's good of you to come in. And also online, it's J. Christian Adams, who broke this story on Breitbart. Of course, it's gone national. And Christian, thanks so much for joining us today as well.
Great to be here as always.
Okay, so let's go ahead and Christian, I'm going to have you first of all tell us about how this story came to light and why it bothered you so much. You wrote an excellent piece on it, and I hope people will read it.
Well, it came to light because there are parents at Woodbrook Elementary School who are furious. That's not the word they used. To me, the word they used starts with a P, but I won't repeat it on your program. Are furious that this Kid Pan Alley group, which we can talk more about them later when you want to, was invited into the schools to work with third graders to write a song that is nothing short of ideological Occupy Wall Street propaganda. You read some of it before I came on the show. Things that have absolutely no place in a public government-run elementary school, and certainly not with third graders.
Steve Koleszar, I'd love to get your response, and this is Steve Koleszar, who is the chair of the Albemarle County School Board.
Okay. We've had Kid Pan Alley in our schools for a number of years. We've gotten overwhelmingly positive responses as a way for kids to create their own music. Most of the songs that they write are not political.
Most.
That's, there were nine or 10 classes that they worked with. There was one song that was political. Their process is to get the kids to write their own songs. Now,
and the kids wrote the song about losing their yacht and their plane from third graders. Look,
excuse me, but I don't mean to interrupt, but you have underestimate the breadth and knowledge of experience that children have these days when they have cable TV, when they listen to the news, they are up on current events. You underestimate what our kids can do. And to say, categorically that this isn't kids' work, I totally disagree. It's not that. It's the process for it to be kids' works and kids' words. They have a process where the class votes on what the topic of the song is going to be. Like I said, we've been doing this program for years. Parents love it. Kids love it. It's a way for kids to connect with art and connect to express their own ideas in an authentic fashion, to be able to make a performance. The fact that you've been using them for years and they're used all over the school district and not just in this one elementary school only makes it all the more frightening. I mean, I have kids this age. You aren't going to tell me that a kid is going to come up with the lyrics. Let's say your son was in an elementary school.
I let you talk. I'll talk. They aren't going to come up with the lyrics that criticize people for their success. Third graders and second graders don't have that hostility toward American traditions of thrift and industry instilled in them.
Okay.
Where it's coming from is you've got a group, Kid Pan Alley, that gets money from communists. Literally, you can read it in the article of Big Government. The head of this organization that gives them money actually wrote a book. You aren't going to believe this. He wrote a book. Communist Entrepreneurs, Unknown Innovators in the Global Economy. Quote, the book is of value in confronting tired stereotypes about the inherent inferiority of technology under communism, unquote. These are people who have radical views, and apparently this school board member doesn't see any problem with inviting them into elementary schools.
I think you're leaping to an awful lot of conclusions. These are local
No, I'm reading facts. These are facts. These are not conclusions.
Okay, I just want to say, one of the key things in education is that education is not a value-free zone. That students are allowed to express their ideas. If we had somebody who they wrote a song extolling capitalism, you would be the first to jump on me if we said, no, you can't do that song because it's political.
Oh,
So
it depends on how it came about. If I brought ideological people into third grades and had them singing songs about it, I would have a problem with it. Look, this is why people are pulling their children out of government-run schools in record numbers. They're going to private schools. They're going to Christian schools. They're homeschooling. They're tired of this sort of thing. The school establishment has a definite tilt in one direction, and the fact that Kid Pan Alley is all over Virginia only speaks to this tilt.
Let me go very quickly also to another school board member here from Albemarle County. Jason Biaki is on the line with us right now. And Jason, I'm going to let you jump in here.
Hey, Rob, I do have some issues with the content of this song. One of them is I don't have to be first is one of the lines. And to me, that promotes a sense of mediocrity, that you're not striving for excellence. And there's a number of phrases within this song that actually violates Albemarle County Schools' core mission statement and our lifelong learning ideals. And I think that we need to have a serious look at this because this does not promote excellence in our schools if this is the message that we are sending to our students.
And Jason, thank you so much for the call and for weighing in here. And I'd like to do a whole nother segment on this, and we'll invite you to come into the studio to have an extended discussion. But Steve Koleszar, I want to ask you if you agree with Jason Biaki, your fellow school board member, that this is not promoting the values that you've set forth in Albemarle.
I think you could say there are some things there that doesn't fit with our values,
such as.
But like he says,
like what?
We believe in pursuit of excellence. And he said, well, I don't want to be first. And that is against what we believe in terms of pursuit of excellence. But it goes back to if you're going to allow children to write their own words, to make their own songs, or write essays or whatever, it's not our job to censor the content.
Okay, well, why don't you have Christian Adams come down to your schools, and I'll do a workshop on American founding principles, and I'll let the kids write all their own essays after a week of spending time with them about principles of liberty. I don't think you're going to do that because you like Kid Pan Alley. You like the particular bent of this organization. You like the fact that they go to Hawaii and write a song about environmental apocalypse. You like their message, and that's why they're in Albemarle County schools.
Well, let's see if he'll accept the invitation, Christian Adams. Steve Koleszar, would you invite Christian Adams to come down and do a workshop with the kids?
That's not my job as a school board member. An individual school board member has no authority and no power to make a decision like that.
Would you propose it to the school board at your next meeting?
I'd have to think about that. I mean, we do have, I'd have to know a lot more details before I could make a decision. And, he says that they've been there indoctrinating them for a week. Now, if this song was a result of indoctrination, how come when they've done tens, maybe hundreds of other songs, there haven't been these kinds of quote-unquote political? The kids choose other topics to write about. That was the first question I asked. Well, are all the songs political? And they're not. They're about
but I have quotes from other songs up at biggovernment.com that you can go and read yourself. Environmental apocalypse, all sorts of anti-business attitudes, frankly, they even have a comment about the World War II generation that is staggering. They say, we don't need to be like the World War II generation. Those aren't the only heroes that are out there. I mean, why run down the World War II generation, the greatest generation in this country? That's what Kid Pan Alley is doing. Don't tell me a third grader came up with that quote about the World War II generation.
Okay, why are you running down Kid Pan Alley? Why are you running down the public schools? And now, you don't like your side to be criticized, but you're saying, no, we can't. Well, I'm just,
let me ask you this. And we're talking with Steve Koleszar, who's chair of the Albemarle County School Board, and also Christian Adams, who broke this story over on Breitbart at Big Government. So let me ask you, do you think that this whole issue of being part of the 99 versus 1% and the values expressed in this song are American values, Steve?
America is a very diverse country.
But let me ask you, do you think they're foundational values of America? And I know we have different opinions, but are these foundational American values?
Thomas Jefferson said, that he believed that there was no wrong presentation of ideas as long as the truth was free to counter it.
But I'm asking you if you think this 99% versus 1%, this class division is an American value and should be promulgated in the schools. Do you think that's a good thing if people are dividing themselves up like that?
I think very conservative ideas belong in our schools. I think very liberal ideas belong in our schools. I don't think one ideology belongs in our schools. We need to expose kids to the full range of American history, the full range of American ideas, and let them discover on their own what the truth is.
Christian?
Well, I think reading, writing, and arithmetic belong in third-grade classrooms in Virginia, not Occupy Wall Street rhetoric. Look, these people love intellectual diversity, except when it comes from the direction of liberty and American conservative values. They love having quasi-Marxists bring guitars into classrooms and teach kids songs about the Occupy Wall Street movement and environmental apocalypse.
No,
but as soon as you try to have anybody from the other direction come in, I'll take that up. I don't have any authority over this one. I'm going to have to think about that before I propose that. That's the sort of intellectual diversity they believe in.
There was a number of years ago that the Franklin Graham Crusade was coming to Charlottesville, and they wanted to do some programs in the school. And I voted to allow them to do that based on individual schools' choices. So I'm not on just saying on just one side. This is something that has to be.
But did the school board vote in majority to allow Franklin Graham into the schools?
The school did not.
And what was it, after school or was it during school hours? And it certainly wasn't religious if it was during school hours.
No, right. It wasn't religious, but I felt that if they had something that they thought they could offer to our schools, that is something we should avail ourselves of. We're much too polarized in this country in terms of people jumping all over conservative values, jumping all over liberal values. Well, I think we're all one America, and we should disagree, but we shouldn't call people we disagree names like right-wing fascists or communists, because that's not the way America is. Well,
unless, of course, they say they're a communist or promote communists. Look, you want to reduce polarization. The way to do it is not to bring in somebody who sings Occupy Wall Street songs that rail about successful people. That only increases polarization. It doesn't decrease it.
J. Christian Adams, thank you so much for joining us today on The Schilling Show, and Steve Koleszar as well for coming in to discuss this issue. It's incredibly important. We'll have a copy of this podcast up a little bit later, and thank you both for your participation today.